now call the Planning Commission meeting of July 9th, 2024 to order. Roll call, please.
Kupczynski here.
Kavich here,
Guzikowski here.
Seifert here.
Jambler here.
and we do have a quorum. So, approval of minutes of June 25th, 2024. If everybody please take a look. And if there's no errors, corrections, discussion, motion.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of June 25th, 2024.
Guzikowski, a second.
Roll call beginning with Ashley.
Kupczynski, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Jambler, aye.
Item 4 is the review and discussion of a report on recent common council actions, of which there were none. Item 5 is review and discuss the report on recent Board of Housing and Zoning appeal actions, also none. And then item 6 is the review and discussion on the report on the recent quarterly Parks and Recreation Commission actions. We will get that report on July the 23rd, 2024. It'll lead us right into new business, and that's item A. It is consideration of a zoning text amendment. Proposed table 17.0304 sub C for non-residential district permitted and conditional uses to allow retail small-scale warehouse as a conditional use in the light manufacturing district. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Melanie.
Staff is bringing forth 2 changes to the LM1 light manufacturing district's uses noted in the permitted and conditional use table in the zoning code. The first addition is for general retail less than 50,000 square feet. The second addition is for warehouse and storage less than 200,000 square feet. Both of the additions will be conditional uses in the LM1 district and will be required to go through the conditional use plan commission process. Staff does not have any concerns about adding these to the table. With that, the suggested motion is on screen.
Okay. We will go right to the commission and see if we have any questions regarding that, Ashley.
No questions.
Chris?
No questions.
Brad?
No questions.
Chauncey?
I do have a question for the applicant.
Applicant's actually probably the city. Oh, you are here. So you proposed it. Oh, come on up. Name and address.
Hi, Caitlin LaJoy, 3885 North Brookfield Road, Brookfield, Wisconsin, 53045.
My question is in regards to the change. Can you provide us more information on why the change for
Sure.
LM1 versus the business districts utilizing that land instead?
Sure. So there was a little bit more context provided with the full submittal, but as far as leaving it LM1, we felt that was a more appropriate choice than to do a rezone. It's a very light, intense use, and it makes sense, and Melanie has a little bit more probably supporting documentation for that, but to leave the zoning felt more appropriate for the immediate use.
Thank you.
Okay. So you may as well just stay off, Caitlin. So just to be clear, for those of you, this is light manufacturing is zoning we came up with that fits a number of properties. If you're familiar with the St. John's property on Rawson Avenue, just east of Howell Avenue. Wait, did I say that right? Howell and Rawson. Yeah, Howell and Rawson. So just east of Howell on Rawson Avenue. They put up a series of, basically, it kind of looks like a strip mall somewhat. And in that, you can have a variety of businesses. We have a dog rehabilitation there. We have medical lab use, different things. If anybody's familiar with like Fastenal, they sell nuts and bolts. They're kind of a warehouse place. Or anybody ever drive by Johnston Supply Company? It is on Howell Avenue, just a little north of that on the east side. They sell plumbing apparatus to contractors. So they'll warehouse it, and guys will come in and kind of shop at the front desk for it, so to speak, and it's all on account. So the light manufacturing was put in for those purposes. If by chance somebody wanted to manufacture something, a widget of some sort, without heavy stamping, stuff like that, maybe hand assembly, it would also fit into the zone. So I would imagine
Yes, so.
this is the context of what we're looking at.
Correct. So the company that is proposed for this specific use, we're still a few steps away from the actual site plan submittal, but the company is Graph Designs, and so they're a high-end manufacturer, which will not be produced on site. This is just their warehouse and showroom, but they're a high-end designer for kitchen and bath plumbing supplies. So like elite fixtures that would find in New York City, across Europe, so things like that.
Okay. You know, it's a similar use. If you're familiar with the Zune building, they have a couple machines to do some demonstration. They don't manufacture anything. That could typically would have fit in the light manufacturing as well. So, I don't have any questions, but we do have a lot of public here for 2 items that are related. So I imagine you're here to speak on it if need be, or to understand it better. So at this time, I'll invite anybody from general audience, if they got questions, to come up. Come on up to the podium, ma'am, and we need your name and address.
Dana Merkel, Merkel, 7238 South Delane Drive. I do have a couple questions, and I did make a copy of it in case we need to circle back around. What is the difference between a rezone, which is what I thought it was originally going to be, to a text amendment?
So if we did a complete rezone of the property, we'd have to fit it into a category. We have residential and B4 business and manufacturing. So for example, we'd have to figure out where this business, so that the light manufacturing is also a zone where it would fit, but it very much limits what they can do manufacturing-wise, what can go in there. Because the last thing we want to do, for example, and pick on any particular company, but we don't want to take something like Laddish or something and stick it right behind a neighborhood. So, you know, when we do our best to kind of plan out the city, we have a comprehensive plan of where things should go. We'd like to keep heavy-duty industrial businesses in our industrial parks. But when they have front counter service as well, sometimes they find a property that's advantageous to them, like I described with this light manufacturing, and they'll go in there. Like storage units can be light manufacturing. They have a wide variety, but if we rezone it, I don't want to say we lose control, but if once the zoning's there, and say this business were to fail, somebody could come in and go, well, it's manufacturing, so I'm going to put in manufacturing type business that, I'm not coming up with a great example, but that we would not want there.
Correct. We already kind of talked about what facilities can occupy this zone with the text amendment. Just as reference, a few years ago, there wanted to be a 24/7 storage facility behind our houses with 24-hour floodlights. Not ideal for people sitting on their patios or trying to sleep. So leads to my next question. If the deal with Graph falls through, is the text amendment null and void and returns to the previous?
The next applicant would have to come in here the same way, and if they fit that zoning, they'd be allowed to go in. Where we get the control is at conditions and restrictions. So, like you described, the former business, and we want lights on 24/7. This board, as well as council, has a discretion to say, no, that won't work. You know, what are your operating hours and things of that nature. I mean, we have ordinances for cutoff shades, and so the light doesn't stray, but conditions and restrictions is where we can really try to accommodate.
We've gotten some renditions of what the proposed building might look like, and it's beautiful. My questions would be, does the trucking shipping doors, I think there's proposed to be 3 or 4 possible, face east towards our Camelot or west towards the field? And can that plan change? So we approve this and the plan hasn't been formalized for the building. Can all of a sudden it be flipped around and we're looking at
So
semis?
normally, I mean, right now, we're just talking about the zoning text amendment to it, or in the next case, the certified survey map for the property to make sure it's all legal. So we normally don't stray off the agenda. But when they come through planning, that's when we start to take that all into consideration. But the input here, because the applicant's sitting here, is hearing this and taking it all in, as well as when they meet planning with Melanie and Christie. They'll take that into account as well.
I appreciate that. I will leave out then my questions about floodlights facing the east. Is the car parking on the west or the east? I couldn't tell from the pictures that we got. And is there a gate to prevent after-hour people from coming into our backyards? And I can supply these questions to her
Yeah,
for the.
they're good questions, a little off the subject matter
Yes.
for this item.
I
But
appreciate
we can address that, and I'm sure it being a business, they want to protect their property as much as
Mhm.
not intruding. And if Caitlin, if you want to comment on any of that,
That's all I
you're
got.
welcome to. Okay.
I appreciate your time.
So high level, like I said, the site plan is still in progress. For the most part, there's not too much flexibility as far as the location of the dock doors. Right now, they are planned to be on the south side. So they're not facing the Camelot condos kind of in that southeast corner.
They're facing more of the field.
The field,
part.
correct. And as mentioned, there's 4 right now that are proposed, and right now we're looking at maybe 2 semi-trucks a day. For the most part, all of their deliveries will be just typical passenger vans, FedEx, USPS, UPS, things like that. And then their hours, very standard business hours. They also are not open to the public, so all of their traffic is by appointment. As far as the 24/7 floodlights and the unknown customers coming through with a previous proposal for the storage, that's not the case here. I also would like to add that we are hosting a neighborhood meeting next Thursday. So those notifications have gone out. I'm not sure if the residents have received them yet, but I did communicate that with their property manager as well.
Always a good idea. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else with questions, concerns before we move on to item 7A? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah, you have to come up and we'll need your name and address. Name and address, ma'am. And you can pull the microphone down so it's all for the minutes.
Can everybody hear me?
I think we got you.
Okay, my name is Valerie Rutledge. I live in the Camelot Trails at 7370 South Delane Drive. And I was just wondering, with this land being developed, has anybody in the city looked at how the water drainage is going to affect properties around it, like the condos?
Yeah, they can't, when they develop, they can't make it, I'm gonna say this wrong and actually maybe you can wordsmith me, but they can't make it worse on you to make it better on them when they develop. So that all goes through our environmental engineers here. And if they need a storm retention pond or swales, they can't push it to you. In most cases, not all, but we tend to think that the development actually improves the water flow usually because there's actually a system going on now. Before, and not to say Oak Creek didn't have a system, but we were so wide open, a lot of things just kind of got built and stood alone for a long time. And then we kind of figured it out as we went. A little more engineered now. Did I say that right?
Yep, yeah, that's correct. So during the plan review process, if there's over a half acre of disturbance, which is very likely with this parcel, a stormwater management plan will be required. That's reviewed by the city. It's reviewed by MMSD, verifying water quality, water quantity, release rates. Existing drainage patterns are typically maintained. Looking at this parcel, just a real brief overview. I mean, things tend to drain to the west. So, I mean, all of that will continue to be maintained and looked at during the plan review process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Come up to the podium, please, sir. Okay.
I live at Rolling Meadows.
Need your name and address.
Oh, name is Gerhard, that's Gerhard, Shaler, Scheler. That's 6987 South Rolling Meadows Court. So it's across the street. I believe we're talking about 1901 and 1941 East Rawson Avenue, right?
Which is basically the old mega discounters.
Correct. And if I understand this correctly, there's going to be a company, Graph Design, that is the sole company that's going in there?
That's what they're looking for. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. I appreciate
Yeah.
improvement.
Oh yeah, that
it-
property needs improvement.
Yeah. Well, you guys just recently cleaned it up. I think the city just recently cleaned it up. It looks pretty
Yeah,
good now.
but it's good to see businesses coming to Oak Creek.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I see there's another one being built right down the road too, whatever that is.
There is, and it's very similar to, I referred to them before as the St. John's properties. That's
Right.
what we know them as here. They're the buildings on the north side of Rawson Avenue, just south, east of Howell.
Yeah, on the north side. So it's that kind of a development, right? Just
This would be probably more of a little bit of a standalone type, because it's a single business. So, you know,
right.
if they're gonna bring in bath fixtures, you know.
That's what it sounded like.
What have you. So, high-end homes, or if they're building apartments or what have you,
Right.
developers would come in and pick their stuff from there. And I'm speculating, Caitlin, if I'm off, let me know.
And the name of the company is Graph Design? Oh, I see. Okay. Any idea on when this might be coming to fruition, or is there still a long ways to go?
Long ways to go. You know, first we have to get through these two items, and then they have to come back through planning, stormwater management plan, the building, site approval, and then they gotta come through us, and everything that comes through us goes through council ultimately. So we're a ways away.
Is this like the first step?
Yes.
Right, okay. That previous slide gave 10,000 square feet, and if I could see that again for a moment. So we're general retail less than, okay, that's the conditional use we want to put on that property, right?
Mayor, do you want her to come to the mic?
That's the current language. So they can fall in there. So their general retail space has to be less than 50,000.
Okay,
And the warehouse has to be less than 200,000. So if the whole building, say, comes out to 100,000,
Right.
you know, they can make up to 50,000 of it retail displays, 100,000, 50,000 warehouse.
they have to fall in that,
Yeah,
in that
in those
range, that's what
parameters.
that is, okay, warehouse distribution. And it sounds like there's gonna be a store, a front and a warehouse, okay. Oh, go ahead, please, no.
Gotta be in the microphone,
Thank you.
so it's recorded.
So correct, right? Like I said, the final plan is still in motion, so we're working closely with the owner of the business. Right now, the total building is about 100,000 square feet, so we're well under the 200,000 square foot conditional use. And then the front portion is going to be office and kind of a showroom, which is considered that retail space. And right now, that's kind of in flux, but right now we're looking at about 14,000 square feet. So again, well under that 50,000 square feet.
So did you say 100,000 and 14,000?
A total of 100, and of that 100, about 14 would be showroom.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Think of it as like the old carpet stores or tile stores, stuff like that.
But nicer.
Thank you very much. That really is all.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Name and address, please.
Laurel Lee Dockel, 7505 South Highfield Court. Okay, has anybody done a study how many open, empty buildings are available in Oak Creek that potentially could house this without adding another building? Are there more empty?
I'm sure there's empty buildings, but whether it fits their need and the look they want and location is the question. How how they acquired the property, we don't dive into that. They just come forward with it. Sometimes they'll come to us and say, you know, this is what we're looking for. What do you have in the city? And we know the available brokers that have properties out there, and there's multiple brokers that do land and buildings. This particular case is really fit their need.
This is what they want.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You're welcome. Anything else before we call for a motion on 7A? Okay. Any more discussion generated out of the commission? No?
Motion?
Motion, please.
Seifert moves that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council that the Table 17.0304 (C) of Chapter 17 Zoning and Sign Ordinance of the Municipal Code be amended to allow general retail less than 50,000 square feet and warehouse storage less than 200,000 square feet as conditional use in the LM1 Light Manufacturing District as proposed after a public hearing.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with myself. Aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Okay, that will move us on to item B, which is a certified survey map. We're gonna review the request by Caitlin LaJoy, Brian Builders, combine the properties at 1901 and 1941 East Rossin Avenue. Melanie?
The applicant is requesting recommendation of approval for a certified survey map to combine the properties shown. The current zoning is LM1. After the combination, the parcel will be 10 acres and will meet the code requirements for that district. On screen is the proposed CSM. Shown is the concept plan for potential development on this site after the combination. With that, the suggested motion is on screen.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. Before I go to the commission, anybody from general audience have a question? Yep, come on up. That's okay. We will need your name again, just so when they do the minutes, they know who's speaking.
Laura Lee Dockel, 7505 South Highfield Court. Okay, 10 acres. Okay, what happens with the rest of the acreage around there that they own? Will they be allowed to do whatever they want?
No,
What happens? They're not going to use it all.
no, they're not gonna use it all, but to get a building that size on there, there's certain setbacks they have to maintain. If you see in this picture, they do have a proposed possible addition to the east. See the dotted line off the yellow? So they could possibly expand if they so choose, but they do have to meet our parking for manufacturing, or light manufacture that size, based on the number of employees,
Right.
hours there, and visitors, things of that nature. Of course, there's green space, and then you can see in the back where a stormwater management pond is in there. So they need that land to be able to put that building in, because at 10,000 square, 100,000 square foot, it's gonna displace a little bit of water.
Right.
So that's why they need the land for the pond. You know, you just can't squeeze a giant house on a small lot. It's kind of similar premise, I guess. And anybody want to back me up on that?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, there's green space requirements, so it's not like they can just start placing buildings. So this is likely something similar that would come for a site and building plan review in front of the Plan Commission. And then anything additional to that would require the same review process.
Do we know how much land, given the size of the building and the water flow, how much land and parking that they are going to use up front out of that 10 acres? Have we gotten that far?
Probably what you're seeing is what you're getting. You know, the green space is kind of up front on Rossin Avenue, as well as the back, the sides. They'll have landscaping at the islands and along the building and things of that nature as well, by code. So,
But you can't tell us in acreage, okay, this is gonna use up 2 acres or 3
no,
acres.
if they'd come in, say with that building addition, oh, we want to make it bigger, you have to be so much off your property lines. We don't let people
yeah.
build right up to the property lines. So, probably looking at what you get. Melanie, anything, you think so? Caitlin?
I will add, so, like I mentioned, this is step 1 of, I think, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 meetings, just the way the conditional use text amendment, CSM and site plan approvals are laying out. So when we actually make the application, I believe the end of August for a plan commission meeting, end of September for the actual site plan review, the data that's being requested will be included in there as far as the impervious counts, which gives a better indication. But I would agree that the plan you're looking at, although not final, is 85% what we're most likely proposing. So there's not a whole lot you can do as far as the lot configuration. It is a very efficiently square rectangular lot, which is to our benefit. But as far as the actual building and the layout and the parking to that point, there's not a lot of flexibility in that.
Anyone else before I go to the commission? Okay. Johnson, you want to start us out?
Surely. No questions. Thank you.
Brad?
No questions at this time.
Chris?
No questions. I think this is a good use of the property and a good way to spruce up and take care of an eyesore that's going on over there already. So I think this is a good use of the property and the land.
Ashley?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any concerns. Fire, just out of respect, I left you out of the last one. But Mike, anything? Okay, fire indicated they have nothing. I don't have any questions either, like I said. And folks, just for general knowledge, as this progresses, if you're within 300 feet of this project or development, you will get a notice on anything going forward. So, obviously you're a very diligent group. You're here already at this point. So, come through and please, if you get the chance, attend the neighborhood meetings, because probably you'll have a better understanding and most of your questions will be answered. And if there are potential problems, sometimes they get worked out right there and then as well, even before it comes here. Okay, if there's no further discussion or questions, we'll look for a motion.
Skowski makes a motion that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council that the certified survey map submitted by Caitlin LaJoy, Brown Buildings Corp. For Gray Faucets Company be approved with the following conditions. 1, that the signature page is updated to the current Plan Commission secretary. 2, that all easements are shown on the certified survey map prior to recording. 3, that all technical corrections, including but not limited to spelling errors, minor coordinate geometry corrections, and corrections required for compliance with the municipal code and Wisconsin statutes are made prior to recording.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Chris.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye. Okay. Rather short meeting, which is kind of refreshing in the summer for us. Announcements, our farmers market's continuing on. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the 4th and had a nice, safe one. We will be back here possibly in 2 weeks. So, anything else we got to mention? What's going on in the city these days?
2 weeks there next?
2 weeks to the next meeting, and Common Council goes on next week. So, we wish you a great summer, and we will see you soon. So, with that, motion to adjourn.
Seifert moves to adjourn at 6:30.
Guzikowski, a second.
Roll call, beginning with Fred.
Seepert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Kupczynski, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Okay.